Water, the central concern of our time. Wherever we live in the world today, whatever we do, we worry about where the water for the morrow is to come from. But while we worry, we forget to look around us at the bounty we are already blessed with. Have we done all we can to harness what we have to tackle an apparently insoluble problem? This film will tell you about very simple methods to address the problem of water. Low-cost methods that can easily be used by local people utilizing locally available natural resources as part of an overall strategy of watershed development. Rain in India falls with great intensity for a few hours on a few days in the monsoon months. When it rains, it really pours. Rainwater in this limited period largely flows away as heavy runoff. Watershed development involves a series of steps to stop this rainwater where it falls. To make it walk rather than run, to make it walk slowly below the ground, and not allow water to flow away rapidly over the terrain. This way, the same water becomes available for a longer period of time within the village. A watershed area can be visualized as a landscape, shaped unevenly like a bowl or basin. When it rains, water flows down from the top of this bowl to collect at the bottom. So the hills, valleys, forests and fields that encircle the falling rain and guide it to streams and rivers all form the enclosure that is the watershed, the catchment area where a river catches its water. Within a watershed, the slopes falling from the ridge are called the ridge area. The many channels that flowing rainwater drains into are called drainage lines. Woven into the contours of nature, watershed treatments aim to reduce the speed of runoff. These interventions are very location specific, varying with differences in slope, catchment and soil. When running water is halted at regular intervals, it traps silt, reducing soil erosion. The local soil moisture profile also improves, providing greater sustenance to vegetation. Water that is stopped by watershed structures helps recharge of groundwater. Below the ground, this water appears as base flows that raise the water table in wells downstream. They also increase the life of streams and help refill dams more than once. These wells and dams become a sustainable source of irrigation in the village, greening landscapes and improving livelihoods. The most important interventions in any watershed program are the earthen dams built on the main stream of the watershed. When built in the upper reaches, they act as percolation ponds that help recharge dams and wells downstream. When made near the farms, their water is directly used for irrigation. Deciding the location of these dams requires balancing many considerations to arrive at the best possible solution. The first step is to locate the relatively flatter portion of the main watershed stream. Flatness of the stream ensures maximum storage. Here we look for well-defined, high and stable embankments. High and firm embankments are important for dam stability.
तालाब की पाल यहाँ तक आएगी, है ना? यहाँ तक आएगी और जो निकासी देंगे अपन यहाँ से यहाँ तक की यहाँ से खोद के वापस नाली में ले जाके छोड़ेंगे। उस तरफ बड़ी टेकरी है, इसलिए अपन उधर नहीं दे सकते, उसको खोदना भी ज़्यादा पड़ेगा और वो जल्दी कटेगी, है ना? इसीलिए यहाँ
We then need to ensure that the hydrogeology at that site is favorable for holding water. The underlying rock strata govern whether or not water will stay. Limestone, for example, will not hold water. but basalts would be able to stop it. At the site where all these conditions are favorable, we try to find an optimal match between the volume of water expected to flow down the catchment into this dam and the storage possible at this site. If we make too large a dam, it will not fill up, and we would have wasted a lot of money in building it. If the dam is too small, we would not have stored as much water as we could have. What we looked for is the best possible match between the water flowing into the dam and its storage capacity. To estimate the volume of water that will flow into it, we first need to find the exact location of the dam on a 1:50,000 Survey of India topo sheet of our area. We then demarcate the catchment of the dam on the topo sheet. To calculate the area of the catchment, we trace it out on a graph paper. How much water will flow down this area also depends on the rainfall and runoff coefficient. To get this volume of water Q, we multiply the runoff coefficient C with the annual rainfall R and the catchment area A. The runoff coefficient is a number that tells us how much of the rain will get converted into runoff. The value of the runoff coefficient has already been calculated for each type of area. The higher the slope, the more barren the land and more impervious the soil, the higher will be the value of the runoff coefficient. Once we know how much water is expected to flow into the dam, we need to design it so that the dam can store an optimal proportion of this water. Here we must accept that it is neither possible nor desirable to harvest every drop of rain that falls in a micro watershed. Some water must be allowed to flow for use in villages downstream. This flow is also vital to sustain the ecosystem, including the monsoon cycle itself. Keeping all these factors in mind, we fix the full reservoir level or FRL of the dam. The FRL indicates the maximum level up to which we can allow water to remain filled in the reservoir. To arrive at this level, we carry out a dumpy level survey in the submergence area of the dam. We mark out a series of points whose elevation is equal to the FRL. points are then joined by a line. This line gives us the entire series of points that are at the FRL. This is the level to which water will remain filled in the dam.
तो ओकासी यह पानी को लेवल है कि यहाँ तक पानी जब भी लाइन डले लो यहाँ से वहाँ तक पूरी दूर में जो सफ़ेद सफ़ेद देखे रही वहाँ तक पानी भराएगा, है कि नहीं? और यहाँ तक पानी भराई जाएगा तो जो निकासी खोदांगे वहाँ से पानी निकली जाएगी, वहाँ से निकली जाएगा। और ऐसा है।
Marking the FRL also helps us know exactly whether human habitation, fertile land or forests are being submerged by the dam. If they are, then we will either reduce the FRL or drop that site altogether. All these considerations together help us arrive at the height of the dam. The FRL also helps fix the most important design parameter of an earthen dam, which is its exit. The base of the exit is always kept at the full reservoir level. The exit must be so designed so as to allow peak runoff to safely pass through it, so that the dam is not endangered in any way. This is because if water flows over the top of an earthen dam, it will break. Keeping this danger in mind, we add two more provisions to the FRL for safety of the dam. One, we allow for the fact that during a rainwater storm, water will temporarily rise higher than the FRL. This level is called the MFL or maximum flood level. Over and above the MFL, we also provide a further margin of safety called the freeboard. Adding the freeboard to the MFL gives us the top bund level or TBL of the dam. Once the TBL has been arrived at, we need to know the height to which the dam will be raised at each point across the stream. We begin the dumpy level survey by fixing a point on one bank of the stream at the top bund level.
0.85.
We then move across the stream, marking TBL points at regular intervals till we reach the TBL on the other bank. A line is drawn joining these points. This is known as the center line. Now we mark out the top width of the dam as parallel lines on either side of the center line. The top width W is determined by the formula W equals 0.4 into H plus 1, where H is the maximum height of the dam. After this, we mark out the upstream and downstream slopes of the dam. The upstream slope is normally kept at 1:3 and the downstream slope 1:2. In this way, the layout of the dam is completed. Now we begin construction. For this, we clear the site of plant roots, sand and stones. We also scrape the laid out area to a depth of 10 centimeters so that the dam can get a firm foundation. Dig a trench along the lines indicating the top width. Continue digging till you encounter an impervious rock strata. Do not dig beyond 50% of the height of the dam. The trench must extend till the TBL height on each embankment. The trench is filled with a very carefully selected special kind of clay that is both fine and sticky. This clay is our black cement, which local people help find and identify. It stops water almost as well as any other material. But for this, we need to do a lot of work on the clay to make it as impermeable as possible. The clay is wetted thoroughly and then kneaded into balls. These balls are used to fill up the trench. The trench is also continuously watered and the clay compressed by people walking on it to increase impermeability. This process is called puddling. The trench is filled to the ground level. It is called a cut-off trench because it is meant to cut off water flowing under the dam. Above the ground level, right over the cut-off trench, we raise a core wall in exactly the same way as we fill the trench. The core wall is made of puddled clay. The core wall helps control seepage of water through the dam. We simultaneously raise the outer flanks of the dam. The flanks are made of relatively coarser material. The material nearest the core wall is finer and graduates to coarser material as we move outwards on both sides of the dam. The flanks help support and protect the core wall. As the flanks are raised, they need to be properly watered and compacted at each stage. The dam is raised layer by layer in a step-like fashion. This is done so that both slopes of the dam can be correctly maintained. Mud for the dam is best dug out from the upstream side. This increases the storage of the dam. Digging must be at a safe distance from the dam. It should also not go below the depth of the cut-off trench. Provision for rest, as also drinking water, first aid and crash facilities must be available at each work site. The core wall is raised only till the FRL. Then the clay inside the core wall is topped with a layer of coarser material. Once we raise the dam to the TBL, the steps on both sides are evened out to give the embankments a smooth surface, while carefully maintaining both upstream and downstream slopes.
अभी हमारा बांध निर्माण कार्य पूरा हो चुका है। पूर्ण होने पर हम इसका सेटलमेंट अलाउंस दे रहे हैं। तो जो खुरदरी या मुर्रम मिट्टी है उसमें 10% देते हैं, लेकिन हमारे पास अभी यहाँ चिकनी मिट्टी है, इसलिए हमको 20 से 25% देना पड़ रहा है।
We raise the dam a little higher than the TBL. This is called settlement allowance. Every earthen dam settles over time of its own weight and due to the action of falling rain. Therefore, earthen dams are made higher than the design height by 10 to 25%, depending upon the material used for construction. We use sticks and strings to guide the process of providing a settlement allowance. Allowing for a settlement allowance results in earthen dams having a convex shape at the top. If this allowance is not made, there is a danger of flowing water overtopping the dam. The most crucial part of an earthen dam is the exit. The size of the exit has to be big enough for peak runoff to safely and rapidly pass through. If this does not happen, water will flow over the top of the dam and it will break.
इस नाला बंद की ऊंचाई है 4 मीटर और इसका कैचमेंट एरिया है 15 हेक्टर और इसका जो निकासी फायरल पॉइंट से हमने निकासी दी उसकी चौड़ाई है 4 मीटर 17 सेंटीमीटर.
We must be careful to check out that the base of the exit is indeed at the full reservoir level.
हाँ, यहाँ पे 2.5 है, 2.5 है, आगे लेना.
यहाँ 10 सेंटीमीटर नीचे करेंगे.
The bed of the exit should be pitched with boulders so that it is not eroded by flowing water, which would reduce the capacity of the dam. As far as possible, the exit should be connected to some natural drain flowing nearby so that the runoff does not cause further erosion. Wide and shallow exits are to be preferred to deep and narrow ones because they allow greater storage and minimize erosion.
बांध के पिछले हिस्से में राफ्टो बना रहे हैं जो कि सीपेज लाइन को नीचे उतारता है और सुरक्षित राफ्टो के द्वारा सुरक्षित बाहर निकाल देता है.
Some water always seeps through any earthen dam, however well we may have made it. If this seepage line emerges above the base of the downstream face of the dam, it poses a serious threat to the stability of the structure. In order to drag the seepage line downwards, a rock toe is provided.
बांध की ऊंचाई हमारी अभी 4 मीटर है, जिसका चौथाई हिस्सा हम 1 मीटर पे राफ्टो बना रहे हैं।
The height of the rock toe is a quarter of the height of the dam. We mark out a series of points corresponding to this height using the dumpy level.
थोड़ा ऊपर, थोड़ा सा और, हाँ ठीक है।
From this height downwards, mud is excavated on the downstream side of the dam to create space for the rock toe. This space is divided into 4 parts. Each part is filled with successively coarser materials as we move away from the dam, making a reverse filter. All the while, care is taken to maintain the downstream slope of the dam. To protect the dam from erosion by rain and the sloughing action of receding water in the reservoir, stone pitching is done on the upstream surface of the dam. Pitching usually needs to be done only till the full reservoir level. Earthen dams are simple, small, low-cost structures that imaginatively utilize local resources and local knowledge. They show how, through a watershed approach, rainwater can help drought-proof agriculture, transform landscapes, and bring about dramatic improvements in rural livelihoods.
साल 4 साल है क्या है कि गेहूँ बोता बोता जब कब गेहूँ बो रहा फैला तो कहीं नहीं बोया नहीं पहला तो सूखी ज़मीन थी दाड़ की करीन खाया।
हाँ पहले ज्वार मक्का हमारे यहाँ मुश्किल से होती थी, पेट भर के खाना नहीं मिल रहा था, हमारे मजदूरी भागना पड़ता था। पर अभी यही ज़मीन में हम सब कुछ पका रहा और मिल रहा, हमारे ताज़ी सब्जी मिल रही, गेहूँ की रोटी मिल रही, चना पक रहा, वो भट्टा, टमाटर, गिलखी, करेले, गोभी, हरा धनिया सभी चीज़ पकाते हैं हम, घर में खाते भी है, वो टोपला भर के बेचे आते हैं हम।
अभी तो यहाँ अपने यहाँ दाड़ की बहुत मिल रही, तो वहाँ का ही लेने जाए फायदा, घर की घर और यहाँ के यहाँ काम करो, कम से कम 20,000 से तो ऊपर ही कमा लिया होगा। अब 15,000 की तो मैंने जमीन गिरवे रख ली।